There it is.
All right, everybody, we're going to jump right on into this. So Jeff and I have been working on this presentation for a while. I'll tell you this here real quick. People don't brag about themselves, but we met Jeff really just a couple of months ago, and the way that we did that is we bought his course. We started going through it, and my business partner Tom is like, "Oh my God, I love this." So we ended up calling Jeff, and he goes, "Hey Jeff, if have you sold this course a bunch?" And he's like, "Well, I've sold it some, but I'm busy. I'm traveling the world. I teach at colleges and I speak at different keynote events and I speak at other events and I'm just kind of busy." And we're like, we really like this. And when we surveyed our list, you really our community, you said we're looking for diversified traffic strategies. And I'm like, this is great. And there's a lot of great Google trainings out there and they're really expensive and they're so comprehensive. Like, I have 200 hours of videos. Like, who has a time to go through 200 hours of videos? So we've been working with Jeff on structuring his teaching style that he's applied for over $20 million in ad spend to what he teaches when he's out on the road teaching groups of people or teaching at local colleges as well too. So Jeff, I'm absolutely honored to have you here. I know you're on the other side of the world. I know it's early, but when people asked about diversified traffic strategies, I couldn't be more excited to have you here talking to our group. So I'm going to step off to the side and put it on mute. I'm going to come out and help just a little bit. Every once in a while, answer some questions, give some handouts, stuff like that. But Jeff, I appreciate you, and I'm just going to hand the floor over to you, sir.
Thanks for having me, Kurt. I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to talking to you about rediscovering Google AdWords. So I know that a lot of people have tried Google AdWords in the past. Maybe they tried it 5 to 7 years ago, but never came back. Some of you maybe have never tried AdWords, but what I really want to do is I want to set the tone for why AdWords is such an important piece of the advertising mix and really get into how we can be really successful with AdWords. And I'm coming at you with what I call the $20 million Google ad spend advantage. I've worked quite a bit with Google, have some really long-lasting relationships, and I'm going to share with you what I've learned over the past decade plus of working with Google. So let's start the tone. And Google made $66 billion last year, and I'm going to show you why that's such a good thing for you. In Google, they're making a lot of money. There's a lot of people that are advertising on Google. It's all coming all over the place. But one thing is, did you ever notice that people make up numbers in their webinars? They come up with just weird stats and say things that's there. I don't do that. I really only show you facts, and that's really what the basis comes from my course. So I went in actually to Google's financial statements and read it and made sure that the numbers that I'm creating for you are real. And this is exactly how much money Google made last year. So with all that amount of money that people are spending in advertising, Google is the place to be when it comes to advertising. So how do they do it? How do they make $66 billion a year? That's always the good question that comes forward. Like, how are they making so much money? It's just a search engine. How are they doing it? Well, the majority of the money they make does come from those little search results. They make billions of dollars from advertisers who want to show up in these search results because there's big money that comes from it. When somebody searches on the Google search engine, they are raising their hand and they're saying, I am looking for something. I'm looking to purchase something. I'm looking for information about something. And there's no more motivated buyer than the person who's raising their hand and identifying themselves to you as somebody who's looking to buy something. So this is really big business and big money. And when it comes to market share, Google is the lion's share of searches. So when you look at worldwide searches that are happening, 90% of them are going to Google. So they do own the search market share. Not only that, but they have just, when you look at the raw numbers that are out there, they have 1.17 billion people a year who are using Google search. So that's way more than the population of the US. They're talking about a very large worldwide population. So when you imagine how your business is going to grow in the next 6 to 12 months, can you see yourself being part of this traffic opportunity? Can you see how important it is to be aligned with Google? We're talking about really where the majority of people who are raising their hands and saying that they need something, they are on Google. And when it comes to and I use the word Google pretty interchangeably with search engines because when it comes to U.S. market share and the amount of money that people spend with search engines, 85% of the revenue is going to Google. And everybody else, they're just getting a low 15%. So if you're going to be advertising in search, you want to start with Google, get good with Google, and then the rest can go from there. So digital advertising is growing. It's a very well-growing industry. We're talking about not just Google ad spend, but digital advertising. Looking at the U.S. alone, We're talking about $49.5 billion in the last year that was coming in through ad revenue in the US, and that grew by 15%. Now, 15% doesn't sound like much, but let me show you how much that growth in revenue really accounts for. We're talking about 1,488 Lamborghini Veninos, which is the most expensive car in the world, you would get just from the growth in online advertising in the US alone. That's a big business we're talking about here. And yet 70% of all business owners admit that they have absolutely no digital marketing strategy. They freely admit it. We have no strategy whatsoever when it comes to digital marketing. And that's where most companies end up getting burned because they don't really understand what they're doing. They just put money in and they lose their money. So what we want to talk about is how do we make it so that we can turn this into a profit center for our businesses. So if you're not marketing with Google, then you're not marketing. Even if you were burned in the past or something didn't work in the past or you're not sure that it works, you can't ignore that anymore. Can you see how this insight can help scale your business, knowing that if you're not on Google, then you're really not showing up? It is that important to business. It is that important to the landscape that we live in 2015. So the goals of this presentation is I want to teach you proven methods that will consistently produce long-term business value. And then the most important thing is that it's profitable, it's sustainable, and it's scalable. These are things that are going to happen well into the future, and they're going to produce results that you can expect they're going to happen this year, next year, and the year after that. Once you get your Google AdWords program up and running, it is extremely consistent, the number of leads that you can expect to bring into your business, the number of sales that you can expect to bring into your business. Google AdWords is a very important way to get a steady stream of conversions and traffic coming into your site and just to fill that sales funnel that you're looking at. So I'm going to teach you all these things within this presentation. But what I really want to do here is I want to give you what I call my Google advertising edge. And this is what I call the $20 million Google advertising edge. Just to give you some idea as to why I'm here and talking to you is that I've spent over $20 million, probably more like $25 million when you look at it today with Google. And I've generated over 1 million leads for my clients. And my clients have generated billions in revenue for that by using Google AdWords. And I'll tell you more about those clients in a minute here, but just know that all these things that we're talking about today are coming from experience, coming from my deep experience working with Google AdWords and Google directly. So can you see how having this $20 million advertising edge, all the things that I learned spending this money can make your life so much easier? Instead of going out and learning this on your own, instead of learning with other people, can you see how much easier things will be when you work with me? So open your mind as we go through this and just make sure that you know that this is really going to be a groundbreaking area for you to focus on within your business. So of the $20 million advertising edge, I'm going to talk about a few points that are really important here that we need to get across. I have deep expertise with AdWords. I've worked with 22 different industries, and I've worked with clients that had anywhere from $2,000 in spend all the way to hundreds of thousands of dollars of spend per month. So you learn a lot by spending all that money. By spending a lot of money and doing it worldwide, you can learn a lot about user behavior, especially when it comes to search. What I'm going to show you is that you can get, with as little as $500 a month, you can get good leads, you can get great targeting, and you can get data. So even though I've worked with clients that are very large and have spent a lot of money with Google AdWords, what I want to show you is how you can do it with as little as $500 a month, because there's really good data that comes out of this. Even if you spend $500 and get 100, 200 clicks on your account, the data that you are gathering right there about your target market and about your customers is very valuable to the future of how you market your business. Second thing I want to talk about is I have decades-long relationships with Google, very strong relationship with Google, and don't just take my word for it. Here's some endorsements that I've received from people who work at Google. So Susan and I, we worked together when she's out of Los Angeles, and we worked together for several years, and she was nice enough to give me a recommendation. We really worked great together for both with each other and then with our clients. We were very innovative. We would take part in a lot of private betas and really sort of shape and mold the future of how Google AdWords worked. And then also Rich, who was the head of industry with Google, we worked together for several years as well, and really were at the forefront of innovation within AdWords. And we learned a lot together and really have the highest respect for each other even to this day. The third thing I want to talk about is how you can take advantage of the knowledge that I gained from having a top-notch client list of household names. So my top-notch client list includes Some of these names that you've probably seen before, these logos, a lot of us recognize these very, very recognizable worldwide brands that we have here. I did the paid search management for these brands and learned a lot from managing for them, and learned a lot about their needs and what they found interesting and what was important to them. And then also learned a lot from Google about how we should be marketing in these products and services as well. A lot of back and forth between my team and Google's team, learning about these things, and really, once again, being at the forefront of how this stuff should work. Fourth thing we want to learn from today is that based on the experience, once again, generating billions in revenue and lots of dollars and leads for my clients. Here's that slide that shows you exactly what we're talking about here. So if you were questioning whether or not the $20 million is there, this is a screenshot I took right outside of my client center within Google showing the $20 million. How to outpace your competition and generate profit. So this is a really important thing, learning how to generate profit and how we can do better. And just a point on this one is imagine what you do with the leads you receive when you start to scale your business profitably. So one of the problems that people have with advertising is how do you make profit doing it? How do you invest the money in here? We're going to show you exactly how you can do that. And I'm going to give you tools that I have from my personal toolbox, exactly how we get that done. And the last thing is we're going to learn how to set up campaigns that actually get approved by Google and follow their rules. But what I need you to do is I need you to stick around to the end of this presentation, because we are going to give you a handout and a link to this to download the spreadsheet that we use before we launch every single campaign that we launch. We use this checklist. So are you ready to get great results? Download the workbook from GoToWebinar right now. Kurt's going to share a link to the workbook if you haven't downloaded it already. And then we're going to get started. All right, great. So I know you have the workbook, and before we get into this, into the training part of it, I want you to do the following things. One, turn off your phone, close out your Facebook, go to somewhere where it's quiet, minimize your distractions. I just had to minimize a distraction, even myself, on this thing, because things keep on popping up everywhere when you're on a webinar. And then I want you to open your mind. Make sure that you keep an open mind with this. Even if you've used Google AdWords in the past or you don't think it's going to work for you, I want you to open your mind and listen to these points we're going to talk about here, because I think they're really important, and you are going to learn something. I can guarantee it here. Ask questions and then take notes. Now that you have the workbook, make sure that you take notes along with it and ask your questions and really get to know what your questions are about this topic. And just to reiterate again, here's me. I'm Jeff Sauer. That's a picture of me on stage. I've been a top 25 PPC expert, international speaker. I teach at a university in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul, and grew one of the fastest growing agencies in America selling Google AdWords. So that's a little bit about me. The goal of this presentation, let's reiterate that. We're going to teach proven methods that consistently produce long-term business value. So we're talking about things that we're in it for the long haul. And then we're going to get predictable and scalable results. We're going to be able to say, yes, if we got this many leads with AdWords this year, look at what we're going to do next year. And you can predict it and you can scale up accordingly. And at the end, if you stick around to the end of this presentation, you're going to receive the slides from today's webinar. You're also going to receive what I call my campaign launch checklist. I talked about that earlier. It's a tool that I use anytime I launch a campaign. I make sure that I go through this checklist and have every step in place. A campaign can't launch until these steps are followed. And this is something that we use in order to save quite a bit of money, hassle, and heartache when it comes to spending money in the wrong places. So stick around and we'll make sure that we give you that at the end of this presentation. So here's how you win the Google AdWords game. We start with nothing, and we need to get all the way to the finish line. So what are the steps we need to take? First thing is you need to determine your budget. How much can you afford to spend to generate a new customer? Get your account in order, establish your list of keywords, outline your strategy. What are you trying to get out of this program? Set your bids, measure your conversions. So make sure that you're tracking your success. Training Google to know what makes you successful is really important here. Optimize your results. And then you use the tools that you have at your disposal to become more efficient. There's ways that you can scale your campaign using technology once you've got all the fundamentals in place. So before we get into the meat of the presentation, I want to ask some polling questions. Kurt, can you set up the poll? And I want to know, what is your experience with running Google search ads? Have you never ran an ad? Did you spend $100 credit and don't know what happened? Have you spent under $1,000? Have you spent $1,000 to $5,000? Have you spent over $5,000? Yeah, that's fascinating. And the funny thing is that I know a lot of people who have never ran an ad, and after going through the course that I created, and within 30 days, they became certified in Google AdWords. So we can take somebody from anywhere along the spectrum, all the way to being recognized by Google as somebody who's qualified and certified to run their program. So excellent. I love to see those results. All right. Well, we're going to go to another polling question. And that is, what type of business do you want to promote with your ads? So I want to make sure that we tailor things to understanding what type of business you have. So are you a local brick and mortar? Do you do online digital products? Do you just want to generate leads? Do you want to sell products through e-commerce? Do you want to just raise your awareness, raise the branding of your program? So let's have that one up for vote. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and these strategies that we're talking about will apply to all of your businesses, all the types of businesses, and so it's great to see the mix that's there, and great to see we have such a diverse and evenly spread out crowd here. All right, and then we'll get to our last polling question, just so we make sure we know everything about you guys. So if you've only for those of you who have used AdWords in the past, which is about 60% of you from the polling question, what made you stop using AdWords? Did you not understand the data? Did you not get the results you were expecting? Did you not know what you were doing? Did Google ban your account for some reason? Or did you just become frustrated with the old way that Google used to treat their advertisers? Yeah,
Wow.
I think that's the most common answer that I receive as well, is that either people tried Google and gave up because they felt like they were wasting money, or they didn't know what they were doing, and they said, let me hold off a little bit on this until I can understand better what I'm doing here. And so this training's perfect for you. This is exactly what we're going to be talking about here, is how do you get to know what you're doing and how do you get the results that you're expecting. So let's talk about that path to winning at Google AdWords, and just reiterating our steps. These are the steps we're going to go through right now, talk about each of these different things and share with you some insights in how you can get the results you're looking for. So when it comes to determining your budget, how do you know how much money you should spend with Google AdWords? First thing is, you need to know your sales funnel. Like, what is your process that you need to go through in order to get somebody to buy from you? So what are the steps of your sales funnel? What is your offer? What are you offering somebody to buy? Do you have something that you're offering them to buy if you have them click on a search ad? What are they looking for, and what do you expect them to do? What's your price? Are you priced competitively versus other people, or are you overpriced? Are you over or underpriced? Is it too good to be true, or is it too expensive that it just rules them out automatically when they come in there? You need to know the answer to those different things as well. And then how long is your follow-up sequence? That's one of the things, is that Google does deliver immediate results for e-commerce and for generating names and leads, but they might not always turn into sales how you want them to if you don't have some kind of follow-up sequence. And so what I did is I put together a tool for every client that I've ever worked with Google AdWords, and this is the pre-sales calculator that we use in order to help people know their numbers. So before we work with any advertiser, we make them fill out this spreadsheet. We use this tool, and we basically say, how much do you think you should spend a month? What's your sales rate? What's your close rate on your sales? How big are your deals? What are your margins in operating these things? And then this specific tool, which comes from our toolbox, which we used. I've used this tool to generate over $5 million in revenue for my company, just from getting various clients. Every one that I use walks through that. We are able to make a determination as to what the budget should be. And so this tool is one that I've been using for years, and I made available to everybody that takes the PPC Mastery Course. You can use this tool in order to get started. Basically, here's the things that you need in order to get there. And so I'm going to show you how to get access to the calculator at the end of the presentation. If you stick around, these are one of the bonus things that we're going to be able to throw in there for you as we go through this. Second thing is to get your account in order. So you need to make sure that you have an account that's structured properly. This is the next big mistake that I see people make right away when I look at their AdWords accounts. I can tell that they're not getting the results because they didn't even have their account in order in the way that they needed to. So I'm going to give you some basic Google AdWords terms that we need to use in order to get started so we can all get on the same page. The first thing is a campaign. You've probably heard the term campaign. At a simplified level, a campaign is where you set your budget, your location, your language targeting, and all of your targeting settings. So you want to have a campaign for each type of person or each type of thing that you want to target. That's the most basic level that we create within an AdWords account. Within a campaign, you can have more than one ad group, and an ad group just stores your ads and it matches them to keywords. Then you have your keywords. We all know that term. It's what somebody types into the Google search engine. So it's who you're targeting, what they're searching for when they're on Google. And then the ad, we all know this one as well. It's what we see. It's what we see in the actual results on Google AdWords. And then when you have an account, you need to structure it properly. So the biggest mistake that I see people make within Google AdWords is they create an account and they create one campaign and they put all of their keywords into one campaign. They basically put all of their eggs into one basket, literally. And I think this is the wrong approach. I've never seen good results when everything is all treated equally, when all of your eggs are in one basket. The right way to do it is you can create multiple campaigns. I've seen accounts with hundreds of campaigns that are in there, and in just different ways to advertise in different targeting settings that you want to approach. Within that, you can have multiple ad groups. I think each campaign should have multiple ad groups because that's how you are getting granular with your data. You want to be very specific with who you're targeting. Within that, you can have multiple keywords, and then within there, you also want to have multiple ads. Basically, the intent here is that every single keyword that you bid on should match the ad text that you're advertising for exactly. If you can match each keyword to the ad text and it makes sense, and then you have a landing page to send them to on your website that makes sense as well, you're going to get better results than if you send somebody to the wrong place on your website, if you send someone where they don't really need to go. So here's what I call a healthy AdWords account structure, is to have one-to-many from everything within your account. Now, for those of you who have not succeeded in the past, this is something where you might want to consider. Have you not succeeded because you did not reach one of these things? Did you not have an account that had a proper structure? Next thing we want to talk about is generating a list of keywords. So generating keywords that you would want to target on the Google search engine. So we're going to go to our next polling question here with Kurt, and we're going to say, how many tools have you used to research keywords either for paid or organic traffic in the past? Have you never used keyword tools? You've used them before, but a long time ago. Have you used them in the last 12 months? Do you use them monthly, or do you do keyword research all the time? Let me know your experience with using keyword research tools.
All right, the poll is open, so we're curious. We're always curious, do people use it organically? I was talking to a prospective client today, and I'm like, what's interesting is, Jeff, you know this from running this much traffic. People think that they select keywords that they think that their avatar will like. And it's like, well, you don't really know until you start running testing. It's just kind of a best guess. So are you guys using keywords for your organic stuff? Do you use it to create blogs? What is that exactly? So we just need a couple more votes. If you never used keywords, if you used them before, if you're not using them in the last 12 months, just need a couple more votes here. I would like to get to 70%. Again, just give us a couple more people. If you haven't voted yet, if you're looking at Facebook, stop looking at Facebook. If you're looking at your phone, don't look at your phone. Just give me one or two more answers. I just need one or more two. I'm going to close it out in 5, 4, 3, 2. Give me one more answer. I just need one more. Oh, that's perfect. 3, 2, 1. Let's go ahead and close that poll. Share results. Wow, 27% never used the keyword tool. Okay, great.
Excellent. Well, we're going to show you what a keyword tool is right now. It's good to know that. And I know a lot of you that have been researching all the time, maybe you'll find some nuggets of information here as well.
Yeah, if you take a look at this,
the first thing is
27%, 19% haven't used them hardly at all or just in a really long time. Good. I know you have some tools that will give them some really good advantages. So let me hide the results, get right back to the presentation.
Excellent. All right, so the number one keyword tool that we all use, even with organic search, is the Google keyword tool. So I don't know if anybody's seen this before. It looks like 27% of you have never even seen this tool before. But basically, if you sign up for an AdWords account, you can start to get ideas for any keyword that's interesting to you. Google will give you results as to how many people each month are searching for it, and then what you can expect to pay if you wanted to advertise on Google. So they make it very easy to get a list of keywords that are important to you. They group them together into ad groups for you. They do all kinds of stuff, but what they're also recommending is that you spend quite a bit of money with them. So this tool is really super efficient, and it has a lot of great data, but it also is trying to get you to spend as much money as possible. So a lot of times I wonder, is their keyword tool the best keyword tool out there? Is it the best one out there? And really it comes down to what you're looking to do. If you want to know how much you should bid per keyword or how many searches each month happen, that definitely is a very effective way to go. But if you want to get the best results out of Google AdWords, you need to sometimes get outside of that Google keyword tool and come up with some keywords of your own. So here's some other keyword tools that I recommend that we use. First one is called keywordtool.io, and it basically takes Google's auto-suggest, their autocomplete, which is the second one on there, and it lets you download them as a list of all the different keywords you should be targeting. So instead of trusting Google's word for the keywords you should target, you can create your own list of words and add them into Google. I also like to use Google Trends, which tells you, is there any seasonality to your keywords, and is it growing or is it shrinking? What is happening with the keywords that you have in place? And then the last one that I recommend is something called WordStream, which allows you to target specific keywords and get a lot of good search data in there, and then manage your account to understand which keywords should I be targeting. So here's some tools that I recommend that we use with keyword targeting on Google AdWords. In addition to that, I think that it's really important to understand the match types of your keywords. So the most broad way to match people is with a broad match keyword, and that is something where if you type in the word dogs, then you might end up showing up for the word puppies. You might show up for synonyms, plurals. You might show up for dog. You might show up for any kind of thing associated with a dog. And so broad match is the most common way that people advertise, but it's also the least effective. Usually there's about a 50% rate match to keywords that are not relevant to you when you use broad match. So we recommend modified broad, where you say if it's going to be dogs, it actually has to be closely related to dogs, or even better, phrase and exact match keywords. The more specific you get with your keywords, the better the results are within Google AdWords. So knowing what match types are equally as important as just understanding what keywords should be out there. So not only should you be using these tools to create a list of keywords, you should also be adding match types in there as well. And then don't forget about negative keywords. So negative keywords are where you say, here's keywords that I don't want to target. So my example that I give is, I used to work in the replacement window industry, where you'd want to replace the windows on your house. Now, could you imagine, okay, well, I should bid on the keyword Windows. Can you imagine what might happen if you bid on the keyword Windows? You might start showing up for Microsoft. You will show up for Microsoft if you're not careful. So Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 8, 10, every single version of Windows is going to end up showing up in your AdWords account if you're not careful. So if you add negative keywords, you can block people from showing up that are completely unrelated to what you're talking about here. And that's really a good example of why advertisers end up not doing well with AdWords. They might bid on something super broad and then not understand that they're not even hitting their target market. I'm surprised every single time I look at a search query report within Google AdWords how many times people are targeting something that they had no idea that they were targeting. And that's one of the most important ways to save money with Google. I always look at this as adding proper negative keywords and match types can really reduce your cost by upwards of 50% just by doing those simple tricks. So do you see how you can implement this right after the workshop? This is really important for you, is that if you want to be actionable with what you're talking about here, you can add negative keywords and adjust the match types in your account right away and get some really solid results. So highly recommend that you do that. The next thing we want to talk about is how do we outline our strategy. So I say there's three basic strategies that you'd want to employ when it comes to online advertising with Google AdWords, and I'm going to talk about those right now. So there's three strategies you can employ. The first one that I call the maximizer, and this is when you have a fixed budget and you need to maximize and get the best results possible for that budget. So you have a fixed budget, you want to maximize your results, you want to lower your costs, and you're going to get these results based on your budget. So say that you have a $100 budget to spend on Google AdWords. The maximizer is somebody who's going to get as many clicks as possible or as many conversions as possible for that $100. And if you're in that boat where you can only spend a certain amount of money on Google AdWords, highly recommend that you employ this strategy, and then everything you do is built around trying to get as many clicks or as many conversions as you can for your budget. That's what you call the maximizer. The second strategy, the Frontrunner. Now, I've had clients who employ this strategy. It doesn't always work for everybody, but it's something that you can look at and you can do if you're focused on your brand. So if you're focused on your brand and you want to have high visibility, high positioning, but you don't really care about accountability, you don't really care about your conversion rate or how much money you make per click, and you want to just be on top, you just want to be visible for people, then you can be the Frontrunner. Now, I don't recommend the Frontrunner really to most businesses because it's not very efficient. The strategy, the third one that I recommend to everybody, is what I call the Profiteer. It's somebody who is making profit and focusing entirely on that with Google AdWords. And the premise here is that if you're focused on making profit with Google AdWords, why would you limit yourself to a $100 budget? If you can prove that $100 with AdWords makes you $200, then why shouldn't you spend $1,000? Why shouldn't you test the waters and see if that scales up to $10,000? That's what you do when you're employing the Profiteer strategy, and that's the strategy that I recommend for everybody. So how do you do that? You got to track your outcomes. You got to focus on profitability. You got to spend wherever you need to, and you're really building a long-term view that you're going here. So can you see how employing these strategies can be applied directly to the business to increase leads and profit? I definitely can, and that's really important, and that's where I focus on my efforts as well, is almost always on being the one who profits. So let's hear about your business once again. This is our last polling question, but what is your objective for your business? Are you a maximizer? Are you a front runner? Or are you focusing purely on profit?
All right, everybody, just curious, last polling question here. It's kind of interesting. Like, Jeff, I've always wanted to get into branding. What's branding? Just spend a whole lot of money so people get to know your name. It's like, but most people I know want to put in $1 and get $1 out, or put in $1 and get $2 out. And it's so funny. People are like, nope, I just want to get as much, as much exposure as possible. So, hey, we got over 60% of the people who voted. If you haven't voted already, we got hundreds of people on the webinar. Do me a favor, go ahead and click. Are you looking to be more like the maximizer? Are you more like the front runner? Are you more like the profiteer? Because I know, Jeff, I know you can help all three of those categories, but man, I am really curious. Man, this is a tight poll. So I'm looking for just a couple more people to answer. Again, if you haven't done it already, please, please, please do me a favor. Make sure you're voting right on your screen, not typing it in the messages, but vote right on your screen. Click the button right on your screen. Which one is you? The maximizer, the front runner, the profiteer? Again, which one is you? All right, let's go ahead and close out the poll. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh man, these results are very interesting, Jeff. Check that out.
Yeah, excellent. So the maximizer and the profiteer, that's really where we want to be. The front runners, I have a lot of ideas for you and how you can improve it, but it's good to see that the majority of you are either trying to maximize this fixed budget that somebody gave you, or that you're trying to get as much profit as possible. I think those are really sound approaches to using Google AdWords.
Absolutely. And one thing before we wrap up, I got a couple of questions in here. We're going to answer questions at the end, by the way. Jeff has a lot of Q&A time that we're going to put into this. A couple of people have said, hey, the sound kind of goes in and out a little bit. Keep in mind, I have a recording on my end. Jeff has a recording on his end. We got all these backup recordings too, and sometimes the interwebs gets a little interesting. But we're going to make sure that you're going to hear the recording. If you missed anything, you're going to have the workbook, the recording as well too. So just want to let everybody know. Let's go ahead and hide those results, get right back into the presentation. We will make sure we take care of you and answer all your questions as well too. So Jeff, the floor is yours again.
Excellent. So it's good to see that a lot of you are focused on profit and maximizing. Now I think that these two are pretty closely related. Maximizing, which is basically somebody saying, hey, I'm giving you $100, get me as much as I can. And then hopefully if you can get that result that you're looking for, then it's all about convincing somebody that the next step is to make as much profit. So I recommend starting with the maximizer to get, to say, hey, what can I get for $1,000 or $100 or $500, whatever your amount of money is, and then eventually, if you can prove that that's going to happen not only in month 1 but month 2 and into the future, then you can start to focus on how do I get as much profit as possible from Google AdWords. So those two go hand in hand, and it's great to see that a lot of you are employing that strategy. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is how do you set your bids? How do you set the bids within the Google AdWords system in order to make sure that you are spending as little money possible on each click with Google in order to get the best results? So Google has an auction-based system. Not sure if anybody has recognized that or heard of that before, but Google's system is based on an auction. So just because you spend the most money does not mean that you're going to be somebody who's in the top. It actually goes to people who are having the best quality ad that's out there. So I can explain it to you, but did you know that bidding the most does not always make you show up number 1? So it's an auction system, but it also has it's auction based on the highest quality ad. So here's a screenshot that shows you that if you spend $2, if you're saying I'm going to spend $2 with Google AdWords, and you have a really high quality ad, and you are taking advantage of all the Google formats like site links and callouts and every other extension that's available within AdWords, you're going to have a higher ad rank than somebody who is willing to spend $4, yet they have a low quality experience. So even though you're willing to spend less money than somebody else, you actually rise to the top if you are bidding and you have a high ad rank within Google AdWords. So a lot of what we're doing here is, and a lot of the way that we get the best results is not always spending as much money as possible. It's by being as efficient as possible. And so if you stick around and you take after this webinar, we're going to send you a link to both the replay and the workshop as Kurt had mentioned, and in that there's going to be a link to a video from Google. And in that Google video, they'll explain exactly how their auction-based system works and give you some more background on it. So I highly recommend that you watch that video if you want to learn more about how we can get the most out of Google's ad auction. Next step is talking about measuring conversions. How do we measure success? How do we track the success that's happening on our site? So it seems hard. We have these things called pixels that are in place, and you put a pixel on your website. Anytime that somebody does the action you want them to do, but it's really easy to get it done. Here's a little, basically on your thank you page, or whenever somebody buys, whether it's your final cart page, the thank you page there, or if it's thank you for signing up for whatever somebody signed up for, you put a single piece of pixel of code on there, and it will just end up tracking it and sending it to Google. So this is training Google to recognize what makes you successful, and that's what we call a conversion pixel. There's also other tools that make it even easier. So there's a tool called Google Tag Manager that I use on all of my websites, and that allows me to track to basically put a conversion pixel in place automatically without even having to talk to a web developer. So we spend a lot of time in the course talking about how do conversion pixels work, but they're very easy. If all you need to do is put one piece of code on your site, and then magically Google knows what makes you successful. So highly recommend conversion tracking. In fact, I don't launch a campaign, or I won't allow my team to launch a campaign unless they have conversion tracking in place. Now we're going to talk about optimizing our results. So now that we've been able to track all these things, we have our keywords, we have our account structure set up properly, we're doing the bids, we're maximizing our results, and we have conversion in place. Now it's time to optimize our results. And this is really something where most people fall short. They might launch a campaign one time, and they might put it up there with Google, spend their $100 or their $1,000, whatever that amount of money is, and then the results come in at the end of the month, and it does not meet expectations. Well, the problem is that they didn't do anything to make the results be where they wanted to be. I've already talked about several things here, like keyword match types and even the ad auction. These are all ways that you can discount your cost per click by up to 50% with each one of these things. And so when you stack these things together, you can really find a lot of efficiency in your account. But most people don't do this. Most people turn on AdWords, set it, and forget it, and they get terrible results, and then they're surprised. They blame Google when they don't get the results they want. But it's not Google's fault. It's usually the advertiser's fault. So here's a simple process that you can use to get started. First thing is you want to do is you want to refine your keyword list. So take the keyword list that you created using the Google tool, using the keywordtool.io that we talked about, even just typing in your own keywords that you think you're interested in. I always look at that list with an eye that says, is this an important keyword to me? Is it really something that I should be bidding on? The results really help here. When you look at your keyword list, you can see, is this something that's really important to me? Test your ads. So you have the ability to add, remember, multiple ads into an ad group. You can test them side by side. So you can do A/B split testing right within AdWords to say which ads are going to deliver the most conversions for me. And that's something where once you know when an ad is performing, you can get rid of your other ads, or you can focus only on showing the high converting ads in your account. Review your conversions. Are they coming in how you wanted to? Is your conversion rate acceptable? Is it happening at the rate you want it to? And what keywords are specifically getting people to convert? What are the keywords that people are using in order to buy or to become a lead? Monitor your results. Obviously, every single day when you get started in AdWords, I recommend spending at least 15 minutes every single day for the first month looking at your AdWords account and just seeing what happened the day before. What happened the day before? Is it good? Is it out of line? Is it something that we expected? Is it not expecting? Monitor those results and make sure that you're doing your due diligence there. And so, like I said, 15 minutes a day can get you much better results than not doing it at all. Adjusting your bids. So now that you have all this data coming in, now that you're looking at your results, you either bid up or you bid down. So you bid higher on your keywords that are converting, and then you bid lower on the keywords that are not converting. And so just by eliminating some keywords that don't bring in customers is a really good way in order to get the best results possible here. And then when you do that, if you do that 15 minutes every day for your first month, and then maybe after the first month you do it 15 minutes a week or 30 minutes a week, you can get to the point where you're getting predictable, scalable results with Google. But if you're not doing these things, if you tried AdWords before and you didn't do any of these things and you just set it and forget it, then you're not going to be able to, then you're the one to blame. That the advertiser is the one to blame if they do not follow this process. This process has worked for me for 10 plus years working with Google AdWords, and it works to this day. If you give it attention, you will get the results you're looking for. And then once you establish that process, remember I talked about 15 minutes a day and then maybe 30 minutes a week, whatever that number becomes, then you start to incorporate tools to make yourself more efficient. And this is where it gets to be really fun. So you can use tools to make your keyword research go better. So you can use third-party tools that scale up your account, that group your campaigns together, all kinds of different third-party tools for research. And then you can also mine your search terms report within Google if you have broad match keywords, and then you can create new keywords based on what happened within Google. So you can create new keywords and negative keywords all within Google AdWords. You can split test your ads, so you can monitor your own results. With, like I said, within Google AdWords, you can split test your ads. In addition to that, you can look at what your competition's saying, and if they're saying something that's either really compelling or something that's controversial, you can look at that and then you can add an ad for yourself. There's also tools that exist that just let you monitor and spy on the ads of your competitors, something called SpyFu that does that, as well as iSpionage. Those are tools that allow you to spy on your competitors and see exactly what ads they have and an estimate as to how much people are clicking on them. Conversion tools, so we talked about the AdWords conversion pixels. You can also use Google Analytics, which is almost like the peanut butter to the jelly of Google AdWords. You can use those things hand in hand to measure your results. I recommend using both of those. I wouldn't let somebody launch a campaign unless they had Google Analytics on the site as well. And then there's my all-time favorite must-have tool, and it's called Google AdWords Editor. Now this is a tool you can download for free from Google, and it's like the central nervous system for your entire account. So you can download all the data on your account, all the statistics, all your keywords, ads, campaigns, everything. All the settings are in one spot right on your desktop using Google AdWords Editor. And that's a tool that I think that if you're going to get one thing out of this, I highly recommend that all of you take advantage of downloading Google AdWords Editor. So we just covered the path to winning at Google AdWords. I know this is a lot of information packed in here, a lot of information that's there. But if you can follow these steps, and I encourage you, you can do it, just a small amount of time every single day, you are going to get the results that you're looking for with Google AdWords. I can guarantee it. And this is the process that I follow all the time, that I've followed over $20+ million of Google AdWords spend to get great results, to get recommendations from Google, to get all kinds of different good things that I've shown you here. So remember this, Google made $66 billion last year. And now you know how they did it. Now you know how they did it, and now you know how you can take advantage of that. So do you want your company to show up in the ads? Do you want to show up really highly up in the search results? Do you want to take advantage of this, of the $66 billion and the 1.17 billion people who are raising their hand saying they're looking for something? Do you want to take advantage of that? Absolutely do. So I know that today we've covered a lot of information, and at times new information can be a bit overwhelming. But at this point you have three options as I see it. First one is if you're not interested in this thing, you can just hire me. You can hire somebody like me who charges $500 an hour to manage your account, to look at it, to give you tips, and to give you ideas as to how you can fix it. But I'm going to tell you something, is that I am pretty well booked up. I'm traveling in the world right now, and I don't have time to take on a lot of clients, so I'm not even sure if that's an option right now. Really very selective with the clients that I take on. So your first option is to hire an expert to take care of this for you. Second option is you can take what you've learned here and you can start Googling and YouTubing and piecing together your education, learning things from different sources that are giving away things, for free or inexpensively. You can do that type of stuff. But I'd warn you that with that type of education, who knows whether you can trust it or not? Who knows whether it's something that can get there? And third option is you can use my shortcut with the step-by-step blueprints, videos, and tools to expedite your success. You can use the tools that I use myself to make $5 million for my agency, to spend over $20 million with Google, to get on Google's good side, to have strong representatives and contacts everywhere. And so I think that's the smart choice, and I'm sure you will as well. So what I want to do is I want to introduce you to how we can streamline the learning curve for you with my step-by-step blueprint and the entire box of tools that I use. So I've made all of my tools available, and I can give you the entire toolbox of what I use to manage Google AdWords accounts. And I did that by introducing the PPC Mastery Course. So I created a course earlier this year that walks you through step by step how do you understand the AdWords ecosystem, how do you get good at advertising with Google, and how do you become certified with Google in order to prove that you're an expert with AdWords. How do you make profit for your business? How do you take advantage of the system that's out there? How do you gain from the $66 billion that Google spends or that Google makes every single year? So what do you get if you sign up for my course? I'm just going to give you a little bit of an idea as to what you get for signing up for the course. Everything I've learned from over 10 years and millions of dollars in ad spend. So there's quite a few things, quite a few tools that I have in my toolbox. I've written articles for Google about techniques that you can use. I've been all over the place. I've spoken on many stages internationally. I've provided many insights on how you can take advantage of Google AdWords, and I've consolidated them all into one spot here within the PPC Mastery Course. So you get all the different tools, everything that I've learned over 10 years. I do not hold anything back. I'm giving you everything that I know about Google AdWords. You get 30 HD video lessons, and that is over 11 hours of video. Now, it might seem like a lot, but it's really, short clips, anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, and you can get through that either on a daily basis, or I have some students who binge watch the videos, and then they go on and they become certified in a couple days within the course. You get spreadsheets you can download and reports, all kinds of different supplemental materials that are really important, the tools from my toolbox, and then you get a lifetime membership to the PPC course. So if you sign up for the course, I don't do like a monthly subscription or even an annual one. If you sign up now, you get a lifetime subscription to all the information that's available here. And that's the thing that I think is really important here. Do you see how easy you can be with the assistance of a community like this? How easy it can be if you learn through these videos. It can be very easy, and really, like Kurt said, it's a shortcut to get to the front of the line when it comes to your knowledge of Google AdWords. Let's take a peek inside. What does the course have? So there's, like I said, there's the 30 easy to follow video lessons. You have a menu where you can say I'm doing lesson 1, lesson 2, all the way to the end. I have a lot of bonus lessons in there that you can view that are really, geared towards certain specific scenarios that might be important to you. And we also have a members only discussion forum. Now, I love these forums because every single day I get a question from somebody that wants clarification on a different aspect of Google AdWords. And these questions come in and I answer them as quickly as I can, but sometimes before I can even answer them, within 15 minutes of a question coming in, another community member will answer the question. And so not only is the community led by the experts, it's also led by the students who have become experts. So there's a great alumni network of people who have taken this course who all work together for the common good. And we have people who never knew anything about Google AdWords. Within 30 days, within 15 days sometimes, they are a Google AdWords certified professional because they followed this easy to understand course. And then after that, they have for the rest of their life, they have a forum where they can ask other PPC practitioners, other people who are interested in PPC, questions they have and get an immediate answer. Now that alone, I think, is one of the most valuable things here, is that you can ask anybody who's interested in AdWords within the community and get an answer within a couple hours. Can you see how joining our online community can shorten your learning curve and make everything easier for you? It can demystify a lot that goes with AdWords. I absolutely can. So don't just take my word for it. Once again, here's another testimonial. This is a guy named Dan who was in my class, and he said, I'm giving you straight information, and I can tell you what we're talking about, but why and how. And the why and how is really what's important for businesses. Why does this happen, and how do we get more of it? That's really what we focus on here. Not just the fundamentals that go into running an AdWords account, but how do you use AdWords to make money for your business? And that's really why we're here. We want to make money for our businesses, right? And if you act today, you'll also receive the first bonus, which is my Google AdWords spend analysis tool. I consider this a must-have tool and supplemental training. And now this is the tool, once again, I mentioned every time that we go into a client, every time that somebody said they were interested in AdWords, we would make them go through this tool and give us their business numbers in order to see whether AdWords would even work for them. There's times we turn down clients and saying, we can't work for you because you don't know your numbers. You don't understand what makes you successful. So how are we supposed to make you successful with AdWords? But for those who did succeed, for those who went through this tool and filled it all out and were honest with themselves about their business, we generated over $5 million in revenue for my agency in sales alone just by using this simple tool, just by using this sheet. Now I'm going to making it available to you if you sign up for the course. Second bonus is how do you research your keywords and how do you group everything together. So we have training and we talk about how do we expand keyword lists and then how do you form keywords and ad groups. There's a training special bonus that comes with it if you sign up for the course. For those of you who are really looking to immediately sign up for this thing, if you take action right away, and this is limited to 10 people, the first 10 people who sign up for this, we're going to give you our Google AdWords ROI template. Now this template helps you understand exactly what you need to do from an ad group level down to a keyword level. How do you generate profit for your business? How are you profiting from Google AdWords and what is your return on investment? Now this is a tool that I put together for a client and I charged them $20,000 to create this tool. The first time I created it, I charged them $20,000 and they were amazed by it. It was revolutionary. It made it all the way up to the CEO of the company, this tool that helped them know the return on investment of their Google AdWords for each ad group that was out there. And now I'm giving it away for free for those of you who act right away. For the first 10 people who sign up, you get this tool that I once charged $20,000 for. I'm giving it away for free because I want to reward people who act now. I want to reward people who are decisive and who make quick decisions, make decisions about investing in themselves. So adding it all up, PPC course is easily worth $5,000. Even that one tool, if you were on the open market, it might cost $20,000. But that's not the price I'm going to charge today. Not the price that I'm going to charge for you for attending the webinar today. A typical Google AdWords course would cost you at least $1,000 to attend in person. I know that because I teach these classes in person, and I charge over $1,000 to see me in person. And guess what? Every one of these classes sells out. I fill the room with people wanting to learn Google AdWords every time that I teach in person, and I charge over $1,000. Sell out every single class because that's how important this topic is. But I want to give you a discount. I want to give you a better deal today. Or you could hire a PPC manager. They cost $60,000+ a year to hire somebody to manage it for you. Or you could spend $5,000 a month just to have an agency manage your account for you. So it costs a lot of money to have somebody work on your accounts. So you can do all that stuff. But you don't need to pay anywhere near that today because I'm making this available to you at a very underpriced level. I'm looking to grow market share and I want to get you in the course right away. I want to make this a no-brainer. I don't want a price to get in the way of your success. I want this to be something where you're saying, yes, I need to do this right away. This is something that is important to me. So like I said, I could sell this to you for $5,000. I could sell it to you for $1,000. I have sold it. I sell out at $1,000. People are lining up and they're getting booked in advance, several months in advance, just in order to take the $1,000 class. But today only, I'm selling this as an online class to you for $297. Here's what you get for that $297. You get all kinds of bonus materials. You get the entire course, 30 HD videos, high quality videos. You get bonuses that, just the bonuses alone, super valuable here. You get the calculator that I use to sell and to get new clients. You get the reward, the ROI sheet, which I used in order to help clients really understand exactly how their business works. Did a lot of coaching in the business, learn how to do keyword research. You get all of my tools. We're having tons of tools that are available to you, opening up the entire toolbox for you, making it all available. This is something you can do on a mobile. You can do it on mobile. You can watch the videos on mobile. You can watch it on your iPad. You can watch it anywhere. With a checklist, if you're sticking around to the end of this, we're going to give you a link to that PPC campaign checklist. We're giving you everything, the entire kitchen sink here for that $297 value. And an extra bonus. So say that you're not convinced yet. You're also going to get another bonus, which is 2 exam sessions where we go step by step and teach you how to pass the Google AdWords exam. So we walk you through a study guide for the AdWords exam, and everybody who watches these videos then emails me the next day and they say, hey, I passed the test, Jeff. I'm now officially Google AdWords certified, and I owe it all to your video. Watch in the forums, there's all kinds of people. Almost every single day I get somebody who tells me, hey, I'm certified with AdWords now. Thanks, Jeff. Thank you so much for helping me get there. So I'm going to throw that in as a bonus today. If you act now, you're going to get the ability to watch these videos and to become Google AdWords certified yourself. So all the bonuses alone are worth over $700. Then that doesn't even include the course, the blueprints, the forums, and the tools we use. Just the bonuses alone worth over $700. Add it all together, and you get a great product from PPC Course. So if you go to www.ppccourse.net, you can see and sign up for the course. Love to have you on board.
So Jeff, we
Well,
have
what some people are saying about it. So
Jeff, we have right now, just to let you know, I'm really excited, because a lot of these offers are around $1,000, and what you have put in here for $297 is amazing. I've just put the link in the question section just to share with everybody else. So either you can go ahead and type in the link, which we'll share here again, or I am putting it here in the question and the answer section. And I know we're running a little over on time, but I know, Jeff, you said that you'd stick around and answer some questions since we're hitting the top of the hour. I just want to let everybody know I'm going to share the link, and here in just a couple of moments, we're going to dive right into Q&A. But sorry to interrupt you, Jeff. Jump right back into the slide you're on. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that I'm sharing the link, and we're just about ready to head into Q&A.
Yeah, I'll stick around and answer all the questions after this as well. So there's some testimonials. People are talking about this course. I've gotten a lot of people who are really interested in the course and really loving what they're seeing here. And if you're not satisfied within 30 days, I will give you your money back. So if you sign up for the course today and you're not satisfied, I'll give you a 30-day money back guarantee. Not only that, I really want to know how we can make the course better. So if you don't like the course, you can schedule a personal Skype call, and we'll talk about how we can make this better for you. And I'll personally go and find better programs for you that might fit what you're looking for, because I want to make sure that you're learning Google AdWords, and I'm going to make sure that you're satisfied. So if you invest now, you're going to receive all of this. You'll get lifetime membership to the PPC course. So investing now, it's the best time to invest because the price is really great right now with our $297. You get the video lessons, you get reminder emails about each lesson. So you'll get an email every weekday saying, hey, it's time to take the next lesson to watch it. You get a discussion forum, you get resources and offers that only members get. There's a lot of things that are blocked by the paywall that you need to use. You need to sign up in order to get some of these bonuses, all these bonuses. Insider tips for finding PPC jobs. I help people find jobs. I've written all kinds of articles about how do you find a job in this industry. You get all the different downloadable spreadsheets, unlimited access. You can keep watching the videos. I know some people who watch the videos and then they go back and watch them and then watch them again just in order to cement their knowledge. And then over the $500 in bonus materials. All of this is available if you sign up for the course. And as an extra bonus for taking action today, I will personally answer any of the questions you have about Google AdWords. So if you sign up, there's going to be an email that comes to you that says, what are your questions about Google AdWords? Just respond to that to me right now, whenever you can, and I will respond and give you any answer you have. And if it's something that you want to get on a phone call, we could maybe next week set up a Skype call, and I can answer any questions you have that are pressing right now for your campaigns as an extra bonus just for those who take action. I want to reward those of you who take action. I want to reward the people who really are interested in doing this right now. So that's just a summary of it. Today only for $297, you get $1,500 in value. You get all these bonus materials. Everything ties together, and you get access to my entire toolbox. I open the kimono, give you everything that I know about Google AdWords, and I can't wait to see you join. So now we're going to open up.
Jeff, I'm going to take this over here for just a second. Hey, I really appreciate all your time in here as well, too. I mean, there's still a ton of people on here. I've already seen Sam, you've already jumped on in. Betty, I've seen you've already jumped on in. We're already seeing a bunch of other people jump on in. In the question section, tell me if you're already in, by the way. Tell me if you're in. Say, hey, I am in. I've got this. I'm in. Yes, Earl's in too. Great to see. I'm just going to take over control here for just a second here. Where we have for attendees. So Jeff, I'm going to go ahead and take over. Whoop, that is Nick. Make me presenter. I just want to show everybody here my screen here real quick. So share my screen. Let's see here. Share. Yep, just to make sure. Main screen. Oh, not all screens. How about that right there? Jeff, can you see my screen? It'll say the PPC, Master PPC Advertising. Do you see my? Do you see my main screen right now that has your website?
Yep, I see your screen. Yeah. Yep.
A couple of people that asked me, they're like, well, Kurt, I just see a login, a members login. Well, all you got to do is just scroll down just a little bit. And scrolling down just a little bit, you're going to see the red button to purchase the course today. So as you're waiting here right now, Jeff's going to sit here and we're going to answer some questions. But make sure that I'm going to go ahead and send this link one more time, is www.ppccourse.net. Again, I'm going to go ahead and share that here in the question section. Let us know when you are in. Let us know when you are in. Oh, my goodness, Jeff, we have tons of people that are in here. So let me read this in just a little bit, and we have some questions we're answering this as well too. Sam's in, Earl's in, Kyle's in, Al's in, Catherine's in. Great. Jeff's in right now. It says it won't let him buy, but Jeff, we're going to take a look at that. You should just be able to scroll on down, click purchase the course today for $297. It'll jump you right on into the shopping cart. If you have any questions whatsoever, put them on in here. Kathleen says, I'm in. Larry says he's in. Edwin says he's in. Purchase, no problem. Kathleen, this is great, Jeff. There's so many people coming in the community. Oh, my goodness. This is awesome to see. You guys are going to absolutely love working with Jeff. So, again, www.ppccourse.net. I put that in the questions section. We're going to jump into the questions side right here. But when you see this page, all you got to do is just scroll on down. There's even additional bonuses that he doesn't even that is not listed on the site that he mentioned here. Scroll on down, you'll see the purchase the course today for $297. As soon as you go ahead and click on that, it's going to jump you right on over to where you're going to enter the $297. You're going to lock in that price, get that additional support and those other bonuses as well too. And again, when you're in, Jeff just says he's in. Great. Jack just says he's in as well too. We got a ton of people, so let's get into the questions. Thank you. Again, when you're joining us, let us know so we can call you out. Welcome to the community. That is absolutely just awesome. So, Jeff, I just wanted to show people to scroll down just a minute on their site or on your site. So what I'm going to do now, Jeff, is I'm just going to hand you back over. Actually, you know what? I can actually take questions from here now that I think about it, because you and I talked about some frequently asked questions that people typically will ask. So I'll just go ahead and share my screen so you can really, since you just presented, you can take a small little break here. Let me pull this up here in just a second. All right. So when we come down and we talk about the most frequently asked questions, I'm just going to go ahead and just keep sharing my screen. There we go. All right, everybody should be able to see my screen right now for any questions. So Jeff, can I get this information for free from Google? Like, doesn't Google have some free trainings or free resources? Or I know this is a common question you get. What's your typical response?
Yeah, so Google does have a free AdWords test prep examination that you can do through their Google Partners portal. That's actually how I learned 10, 15 years ago on how to do this stuff. But I found it very lacking, and that is that it teaches you how to make Google more money. Remember that $66 billion? It's basically saying, how do we make more money for Google? It doesn't tell you how to make more money for your business. And that's really the fundamental difference between my course and what Google does, is that I'm not just giving you a product demo. Obviously, the product is important, but the product is not something that really matters to me. The interface changes. Things change all the time with Google AdWords. The need to make money for your business, the ability to profit, will never change. And so I focus on timeless classics, if you will, things that we need to do for our business. And so that's the difference between that course and my course. I give you the straight information, the straight knowledge you need, whereas Google tells you how to make more money for Google.
You know, it was interesting. One of the things that we were talking about as well right before this presentation, and someone else had asked in here, is your course updated with what's going on in Google? The nice thing is, Jeff, the way that you teach and the way that you structure stuff is, you told me, I had asked you that question, do you have to update the course? And you're like, yeah, we make updates as necessary, but you're like, the strategy is the stuff that doesn't change. The buttons change a little bit, but the overall strategy doesn't change at all. So I know what's really nice comparing this to Facebook is the strategy is the same. The buttons move around a little bit, but once you know the strategy, that's where it really makes you the most money, not necessarily knowing exactly what button to hit. So good.
Exactly.
All right. So what about the next one? Can't you just hire someone to do it for you? I have a great response for this, but I'd love to hear what you tell others when they're like, I just don't have the time. I just want to figure out for someone else to do it.
Yeah. You can hire somebody to do it for you, but how are you going to know if they're doing a good job or not? How are you going to know if they're managing it properly? If you don't even know what an account structure should look like, or if you don't even know what makes a good keyword, how are you going to know if they're doing the right thing for you? So even a little bit of knowledge is a lot of power when it comes to doing this. So I would recommend that anybody, even the business owner, learn the fundamentals of what's going on so you can speak the language of the people who are managing the campaigns. And if you decide that you don't have time, if your time could be spent elsewhere versus the 15 minutes a day managing or however much time you have to manage, then you can hire somebody. But you need to know what they need to. You need to understand how they talk, how they walk, and what makes your business profitable. And you can even give these tools to them and show them exactly how it needs to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the other things I tell people as well too is when they say, Kurt, I'm just way too busy. I want somebody else to take care of it for me. I'm like, the problem is if you hire an agency, is you're always starting over if you go to a different agency. you got to know how to run some of the stuff on your own. Like I was talking to a girl the other day. She's like, hey, I'm just starting out my business, but Kurt, I want to just pay someone to do all of it for me. And I'm like, that could be the worst decision that you make for the business because you don't know how to manage expectations. You don't know what you're asking your advertiser, your agency to do. I really feel that as a business owner, learning how to run your own traffic is great because it has a great backbone. But man, that is the backbone and lifeblood to your business. And I would definitely want to know at least how it works before I go out and manage any of it. So that's good. We have a couple other questions in here that I want to go over. Will I get certified with Google? So I know, Jeff, there are no guarantees, but talk just a minute about the people who have gotten certified from your course through Google.
Yeah, obviously there's no guarantees, but those who watch the course and watch the videos, they then go through and are successful in taking the course because we make it almost impossible not to be successful here. And that is that we spell out not only what Google is going to tell you in the test, but also all the business aspects and really what's going on there. So yes, you will get certified with Google AdWords, assuming that you put in the work and that you watch the videos and you follow along, then yes, you should get certified with Google.
Awesome. All right, so next question is we're rounding these out and answer some of the questions you have written in here too. How much is a certification worth?
Yeah, so I know a lot of you are business owners and certification might not sound interesting to you, but if you wanted to turn this into a career or if you wanted to get a job managing PPC accounts, when I was hiring, I've interviewed over 1,000 people for PPC positions, and I've hired about 20 people to add to my team. And in that process, the person who had certification with Google, they usually got paid about $10,000 more per year with the same amount of experience. And so if you amortize that over a career and you add it all up, that we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars in difference in career wages that we would be able to, that people would get from being just that little Google certification.
Awesome. All right, one of the last common questions that we have here, do I get ongoing support if I sign up for the course?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you sign up for the course, there's the forums, and like I said, every time that a question comes in, I answer it as soon as I possibly can, and then there's other students who do it as well. So there's a lot of ongoing support that comes in. I see a few of you have already started to email me your questions, and so once this webinar is done, I'm going to start responding and answering some of your questions and really giving you the ongoing support that you need to be successful with AdWords.
One of the questions that we have in here as well too is how often is your course updated? Is it is the strategy updated? Do people ask questions if there's updates? What kind of updates are made to the course?
Yeah, I mean, we make updates all the time as we need, as things change, as things are coming along, and as the interface changes and things like that. And then we also release bonus videos. So a lot of what happens is that we make updates, and then we send you a bonus video to share with you the updates or the changes that are happening there. Because we want to, we're giving you a base of knowledge with the course, and then we want to keep you learning. We want to keep you interested in understanding what's happening with AdWords. So we find both of those are very important.
Awesome. Who else has taken the course? Like what kind of it's other business owners? That's what you get?
Yeah, it's business owners who want to manage their business or people who are marketing for small businesses. It's people who are looking to grow their career in digital marketing and to round out their career. It's all kinds of people. We've had hundreds of people take the course, and my courses overall in person, I've had thousands of people go through these courses. And really, it's just about anybody who wants to become a better digital marketer and who wants to make profit from Google AdWords.
Awesome. And then as we round this out, I have a couple of other questions that are in here. So Jeff, is affiliate marketing allowed in Google AdWords, and what's the best practices to follow so you don't get penalized? I know we could spend hours on that, but just from a 10,000 foot view, what's your feedback?
Yeah, I mean, the Google AdWords policy itself doesn't prevent you from being an affiliate. It's usually the policies of the person you're an affiliate for. So if you look at your affiliate contract when you sign up, a lot of times they'll say no brand keywords. So you can't advertise on their brand within AdWords, but you might be able to advertise on other things. There's all kinds of different rules to what's going on there, and it's not usually Google's policy is pretty open. They want your money, and so they'll let you do a lot of things. It's usually when it comes to breaking a law or doing something that is either illegal or frowned upon that they have to step in. And so that's usually where they limit people, is if they are breaking laws or doing things that are perceived to be illegal.
What about a limo company to get more customers? I know the answer on this one, but what about a local limo company?
A limo company? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anything that you can do in order to convince people, to show people that you're a local presence, that you're there, and to show up on a search result when they're looking for your service, then you can be there. Now, sometimes when local has to compete with national, but local can be your best asset, right? You can show up in maps. You can be the one who really shows up and says, I'm the local option. I'm the local choice. And you can appeal to that. You can put them on a landing page. You can do all kinds of things to say, choose us over the others.
Perfect. What about, let's see here, this one. So, Jeff, whoops. You mentioned bidding a couple of times. This was a big area of confusion for me. One of the reasons I stopped using Google Ads. So, one of the things is when we send out the replay, you're going to get this from your go to webinar meeting when it says, hey, here's the replay. Thanks for attending. So you're going to get the workbook. By the way, you can also go into the download or the handout section where you have 2 of 5 handouts, and you can click on that launch checklist. If you haven't already done that already, we have still hundreds of people on. I want to make sure you click on that. But one of the most important things that we're talking about here is in bidding is when you get that replay, we're going to send you out a video from the Google rep. Actually, Jeff, if you don't mind, will you jump in here? I kind of understood the bidding, and then I watched that, and I'm like, oh my God, I've been doing this for years, and the explanation was amazing. Would you mind talking about that? Who's in that video and why they should watch that and look for the link when we send out the replay?
Yeah, absolutely. So Google has what they call their chief economist, is a guy named Hal Varian, and he's a PhD in economics, and he shares with us exactly how Google works. So they're very transparent in what works with Google and gives you an idea as to how they set the market. And so it's like, let's call it a market-driven marketplace out there. So you bid a keyword, which is, and so this video walks through all this stuff. And actually, I can explain it fairly well, but they're so concise with Google with their graphics and everything that I often just send people to that video to watch it, because it's that easy to understand, and it really takes a lot of questions we have and makes it easier to understand. But the basic premise is that not only, just because you want to spend money with Google doesn't mean that Google wants your money. They want the highest quality ads, because if they didn't get high quality ads out there, then people would stop clicking on them. And so Google's invested in making sure that people click on the best ads and that people get the best experience, and that's what happens there. So they give you a discount, essentially. They charge you less money if you have a better ad than somebody else. So you can't just buy your way to the top. You get a discount according to it. And so there's other things that factor into it, but I highly recommend watching that video that we're going to send out after this webinar is done.
Good. Okay, we got a bunch of other questions in here as well too, which is great. And there's so many people sitting on the line, was absolutely amazing. So Joel asked a question that bothers me a little bit. And Joel, I'm glad that you asked a question and brought this up. And Jeff, and I know you've run into this before, but what about if you don't know your numbers when it comes to sales and conversions, etc.? Then what?
No, that's a good question. So what if you don't know the numbers? I think that a lot of us don't know our numbers. That's actually one of the hardest things to get through, is to know what our numbers are and to know what makes us successful. One thing is I wouldn't advertise and then figure out the numbers, right? I wouldn't spend money with Google until I figure that out. I think that it takes time. One method that I've employed, and I talk about this in the video, is you need to get buy-in from somebody in the organization. You need to ask them you need to get them to agree to a number, right? It doesn't have to be the perfect number. It just has to be relatively correct. And so what I do is I just put a number in there, and then I tell them, can you help me understand where this is wrong? I'm trying to understand what you're going through. So you're empathizing with the person who is in charge of these things, maybe the CFO of your company or the owner, whoever you're working with, to really get to know what works. And then they start to invest in you. They start to invest in your program because they know that you're doing your research and your homework, and they start to really find pride in when you're successful. And so I always approach the people and say, can you help me understand this? Because people, nobody really asks the CFO what the profit margins are. They don't ask that type of stuff. And if you can make that difference, then you'll make a big difference in getting budgets and in getting what you need. So it does take time to get there, but every business should know that. How do you market something if you don't even know whether you're going to turn a profit or whether you know whether you're doing the right thing or not? And so I would say that if you don't know those numbers right now, that should be your first step. And I do walk through some methods on how we can do that within those videos.
Jeff, it's one of the things, let's be completely honest with one another and just the audience as well, too. You've spent, obviously, millions of dollars and worked with lots of different clients, and you've worked with some really big clients. And we worked with some really interesting clients over on Facebook, but it never ceases to amaze me how many people in companies don't know their numbers. And it's not a bad thing. It's just, it's your lifeblood of your agency. Like, it's like, it's like not knowing your blood type when there's an emergency and you go to the emergency room, right? Super critical and really important. So spending time on figuring out what your numbers are for the lifetime value of the customer, like Jeff was talking about earlier in the presentation, and then adding in AdWords. I mean, once you, and it doesn't, and, another question here, Jeff, was, what kind of math skills do you need to be required? And I've always said just fifth grade math, as long as you know that you're spending $1 for a click, but it makes you $1.50, doesn't require tons of math skills. So what kind of level of math skills do you need to put together some of the projects that you're talking about? Like, are there automated calculators? Is it simple math and subtraction? Do you have to do upside down calculus, which I dropped out of in high school?
Yeah.
What does that look
No,
like?
I think, Kurt, it might be more like seventh grade math,
Okay.
but it's pretty straightforward. It's algebra. It's just using a little bit of variables and things like that. I use variables probably is psyching a few people out right now, but it's these calculators really do that. So basically, my recommendation always is you need to figure out on paper or in a primitive way what makes your company money, and then you use tools to scale it up from there. And so you could use bank account math, like I spent this much money with Google and I only got this much money into my bank account. That's one easy way to know if something's working out. I would start there. And then from there, it's really figuring out what works. And then after that, it's just multiplying, right? It's multiplying it by spending a little bit more money or multiplying it by doing it over the course of 12 months instead of 1 month. So the math is not, I don't find the math to be really hard. You can get advanced with bid algorithms and things like that, but even then, it's usually software driven at that point, and so it's really understanding how do you program the software to do what you need. But I always recommend starting simple and proving that it works. Product market fit is really important here, knowing that the market wants your product, and that's what you can do with your first budget with AdWords. And then from there, the scale, then you can find somebody to scale it, or you can find some methods and just improve your results from a scale perspective.
I appreciate that a lot. What about this is kind of interesting to answer this is, so what about the amount of data for search? Is it time or money spent? You said check it out by month. Shouldn't we be making adjustments daily? So I think the question really is what's a good amount of data? Is it over 3 weeks or is it 500 clicks? And how often should they be looking at their campaigns?
Yeah. So that's a really good question. So there's a statistical confidence, which is using literal math and statistics to be confident that something's going to work. That takes a lot. That takes 100 conversions in order to know that this is a trend. So that takes a long time. But then there's the gut feel, and there's just really being close to the metrics that helps you know whether something is going to work or not. Now let me tell you how it works. When the first time you do it, you're not going to know whether it's good or not. You're not going to know whether your cost per click is good or not. You're not going to know whether you should be, until you get a conversion, until you get somebody to buy from you, you're not going to know whether you're hitting the right marks or not. But eventually, if you're looking at that all the time, what ends up happening is you just start to know, if I do this, then this will happen. You start to know and be able to predict what's going to happen based on your experience. And so looking at it is what gives you that experience. And that's why it takes a little bit of time up front, because you're not only you're making your account work, but you're also gaining the experience for yourself. And then over time, once you know that that's going to happen, it just becomes easier. And so for me, I can look at a Google AdWords account and I can tell you if I change this bid, I can predict what's going to happen within a pretty great level of certainty based on just knowing how the Google system works. And so a lot of this comes down to familiarity with what you're doing and getting that experience and getting in there. And so I would say it's not expected that you're going to know everything at first. It's going to be something you build on, and that's where logging in and looking at your account really becomes important.
Appreciate that. So we have a couple more questions here too. I know we may go a little over on time, but Jeff, we got a ton of people here, so if you don't mind, I'm going to go through just a couple of more. These are really good. What reports do you run to find negative keywords?
Yeah, so the search terms report is the most important one. And so what you do is any broad or broad modifier keyword you have, you just click on that keyword, you click on show search terms right within your keyword report, and it will tell you the exact keywords that are being typed in. And then if you like a keyword, you can add it to your campaign, and if you don't like it, you just hit add negative.
Awesome. That's quick and easy. It's great. It's a great question. That's why I love your guys' forums as well too, just because you're going to answer all these questions when people have one that comes up. That's great. Joel asked a
Yeah.
question.
And,
When you
and one thing I'd add is that it's really nice to have this on video because it's easy to hear me say it, but it's probably not quite the same visual representation. We actually walk through in our videos exactly how it's done and where the buttons are. And that really gives us another level of understanding by doing it that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate that. By the way, again, if you're jumping on in the training, let us know. Say you're in, I'm just in. Let me know. We'd love to bring you out and congratulate you. We've just seen on the other side here. We got a ton of people pouring into this, which is absolutely great. I mean, I appreciate the price and the time and just there's a ton of good information. I mean, I'm using it for my own business. So absolutely. So let's see here. So I'm looking through just a couple more of these. Are you, Jeff, I don't know if you offer multi-pay if they write customer service and you can talk to them about it offline. Byron, and just ask that question. Do they send you an email? Do you have that option? Do you not have that option? I don't see that on your site, but I figured I'd just ask.
You mean more than one payment?
Yeah, like do you have a payment plan for your
Yeah.
course?
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Okay, so where should they send you an email at?
Just jeff.sauer@gmail.com.
Okay, jeff.sauer@gmail.com. Perfect. All right, so we have that. So breaking into multiple payments, I know you take that as a case-by-case basis. Looking for black hat solutions. I told them that you don't teach any black hat solutions. Is that right?
The most that I usually do is gray hat.
Gray hat. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that. Looks like Jeff was able to get in, which is great. Someone said stop with the bonuses. I always tell people, man, there's so many courses out there. If you get it right, the bonuses are worth more than the actual course itself, which is great. So really appreciate you shared your expertise. Casey just says, love your work. That's a great compliment. Really, really appreciate that. Have to buy now. It's great. Does the training get updated regularly? Yes, we already did it. And Kathleen's in, Joel's in, Al's in. How do we know if we were one of the first 10? Earl, looks like you were one of the first 10. Awesome. What do you think about Google Express?
Yeah, Google AdWords Express. It's basically Google's way of simplifying AdWords so that any business owner can get started in just a little bit of time. What I would say is that you sacrifice control in the name of simplicity. And after what we've talked about in this webinar today, what would you rather have? More control over what's showing up and where, or simplicity of being able to spend your money with Google? So Google makes Express they do it because they want you to spend money, and they want to make it so simple that you don't really question whether it's working or not. I don't use AdWords Express. I always opt for the full account experience because I think that's where the most opportunity lies.
Appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So Sam says, thanks, Kurt and Jeff. Appreciate you, Sam. Earl says he's in. Kyle's in. Al says he's in. Signing now, Catherine's in. I know that Jeff said he's in too. Awesome. Larry, Edwin, Catherine, Jeff. Yes, you're all excited. That's so great. Jack's in as well too. Hey, I use a corporate replicated website for myself. Kim asked this. So I can't put pixels on the website. Is Google AdWords advertising still something I should consider? Which it sounds like that they have an affiliate site that they can't put a pixel on. Can they still use Google AdWords?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I've worked with this a lot in the past. So I've worked with a lot of large companies that have, that then have sites that they provide to their affiliates or to their franchises, whatever you want to call it. And the answer is yes, you can advertise for it. As long as they allow you to put your tracking pixel on there so you can track your conversions and your success. Remember, that's one of the fundamental things here is that if you can't measure success, it's really hard to be successful. As long as they allow that for you, you can send to their page. Now, sometimes the problem is that Google won't let the same domain show up in the ads at the same time. So if you're widgets.com and then if they have an AdWords campaign for their main corporate identity and then you want to do it to a sub page on their website, they sometimes won't allow you to, or they won't allow you to have the same domain at the same time. So you might need to work with them to figure out scheduling or anything else that's working in there. But it does work. I've definitely sent PPC to corporate pages, and as long as the landing page does its duty, which is to convince the person to take that next step, then absolutely you should be sending them there.
Awesome. Let's see here. Move to the next one. How often is the course updated? Talked about that. Many people get their accounts banned by Google. Do you teach how to avoid that? So I don't know if you necessarily teach Jeff how to avoid getting banned or just best practices. I mean, you can never say how not to get banned. So can you kind of address that? Do you teach mainly just best practices so you're not getting banned, or do you talk, hey, what happens if you don't do this, you don't get, or what does that training include?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's a good question. So I do teach all the rules that Google tells you, and I tell you what's restricted and what you need to be careful with, what you can and can't say, what happens there. As far as not getting banned, it's always such a specific case that if you are running that risk or if you're concerned about it, I'd love to talk to you about it and help you get on that right path. But every situation is personal when it comes to that. So if you sign up and you ask me a question either in the forum or just on the email that comes in there, I'd love to talk to you about it.
Awesome. All right, let's go to the next one. Got lots of great questions. Can Google AdWord link be sent to an opt-in landing page on lead pages or ClickFunnels sales funnels? My product is too complex to send to a cold lead to my site.
Yeah,
So
it can.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the thing is the URL you send them to, it shows up in the ad, and so it has to be the right domain name. So if you look at it from that perspective, it might be it might be odd looking to the searcher to see lead pages in there instead of seeing your own domain name. What you can do is you can do masking with lead pages and have it point to your domain, for example. That's one way to do it. You can embed a lead page into your WordPress blog, or you can create a front page just with your domain name. I would try that just from an aesthetic quality, and then you can track it and everything as you need to. You can do it. I actually do AdWords to advertise the AdWords course, and I turn a profit off of it, which is, you have to eat your own dog food, right? You have to be able to do these things, and so I'm selling a course online on AdWords using AdWords, and so it's pretty meta when you think about it from that perspective. But you can definitely sell it, and then you would just want to split test whether long form landing page works better than doing just a quick opt-in and then going through your normal sales funnel. I think they're both effective. It's just really, once again, being really close to your numbers and seeing is it effective or not.
mm, appreciate that. That is good. What do you think about AdWords Express? I signed up for AdWords Express. Oh, we already went over that, which is fine. Sam asked, do you do affiliate marketing with AdWords? You already went over that as well too. Does the course explain how to use best use Google Trends?
Yeah, so we walk through Google Trends in the course. We have a video talking about it. As far as best use goes, we just walk through all the features in it and what it can do and how you can use it to project seasonality of your business and then project future growth as well.
Okay. Somebody had asked, and I think I know the answer to this question, but someone had asked, do you have a Facebook group that you provide support in, or is everything done in the forum?
As of now, everything's done in the forum.
Yeah, I like it in a forum, and really, in my opinion, for me, is because it's easier to sort and it's your information. Facebook can delete anything at any time, so I know, to have all those answers and a firsthand experience to have all those answers in one place is really nice as well too. So yeah, in my opinion, I'd keep that in the forum, which is well too. All right, so when and where do we get all the bonuses? Are they just in the course? So Jeff, how do you distribute all the bonuses that you talked about here?
Yeah, so there's a bonus section in the course. So once you're logged in with after you've signed up and you log in, you should be able to see several of the bonus sessions. And then we also have emails that come out along the way because some of the bonuses mean more to you as you get further into the course. And so we'll send you an email explaining exactly how to use that tool and what's going on there. But then also within the bonus menu, you can get access to things if you're really jumping on it right away.
Okay, appreciate that. And then looks like we're almost done rounding out the questions here, so appreciate it. We still have a ton of people on. This is absolutely great. Again, if you haven't done it already and you're still listening, go to www.ppccourse.net. Again, www.ppcourse.net. We may be under those fast action bonuses. Hey, Jeff, let me ask you a question. Would you, and I know you said 10, would you give out another 5? I know we're over. Would you give out another 5 for the fast action bonus?
Yeah, I think I can do that.
I'd love to put you out just on the spot. Yeah, if you can get on another 5, so we can give out just a
Since you asked, Kurt, I'll do it.
I always like to ask for free stuff, which is good too. So, all right. Now, what about direct sales or MLM? So, can you use the pay-per-click for MLM, or do they really need to run it to like a blog where they can opt in for more information? How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, so there's all kinds of different strategies you can use with AdWords, right? So it depends. Once again, knowing your sales funnel and knowing your cross-sell, upsell sequence and your lifetime value of a customer. If you want to use AdWords to get them into that top of that funnel, then you can do that. Make sure that you're and if you know what you can pay per lead, then it can be a very cost-effective way to do it. You just got to be close to your numbers, and then from there you can feed them through the entire sequence and make a profit. The other thing that really works well in this case for AdWords is remarketing. So if somebody, if you have people who come in through your main AdWords campaign and they don't buy, remarketing to them and then trying to get them to take the next step can be a really important thing here as well. And so there's a lot of different ways that you can go about this and getting people interested in what you have to say.
Hmm. Appreciate that. That is good. All right. How important is it to learning probability and statistics while learning AdWords? Oh, what math should we use? We already got that question to answer, which is great. The link for the calculator that you were talking about, Jeff, that you have, that's inside the course, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Perfect. Okay.
And there's a video that talks about exactly how we get that to work and how you fill it out and everything in the bonus materials.
Okay. Jamie had asked, mentioned some special sauce for e-commerce and Amazon sellers. Do we cover that specifically? Do you have trainings inside the course that will talk about some of the special sauce for e-commerce? Because I know you've done a lot of e-commerce stuff.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of materials talk specifically about how it works for e-commerce, using ad extensions and getting all that stuff in place. Google Shopping, those are all important aspects of it.
Okay, awesome. And
And
then,
again, if any specific questions, like I've sold millions of dollars of products e-commerce through AdWords, and so if there's any questions that people have, that's part of where the forum comes in, is that we try to cover an education that everybody will learn from, right? That everybody that's getting into AdWords will get to. But then your specific case, that's where we have the forum, so you can ask questions and we can really talk about specific things.
perfect. I have just a couple of other questions in here. One of them is, what's the difference between Facebook ads and Google? We could talk about this all day long. Google, people are searching for your stuff. Facebook is really disruptive ads. So, big difference between the two. I would absolutely leverage this. So my question's around affiliate offers. Yep, we covered affiliate offers. Where do we view the video about bidding from Google? So that's going to be sent out with the replay. Does the course cover how to leverage AdWords to promote mobile app installs? Do you cover any mobile app install stuff?
Yeah, we talk about the app extensions. So if you wanted to do a mobile app, there's an extension where you can get people to download things. We walk through where those are and how you set them up.
Okay.
And then ultimately the optimization process, it's the same for everything we do. It's knowing how many people took the action you wanted to, and then deducing whether you can make profit from it as a result.
Okay. Let's see here. The next one is, let's see here. Google AdWords. So Edwin asked, and what tool was that in Google Keyword Tool? So you go over keyword tools and stuff like that inside the course as well too, correct?
Yeah, we have a 45-minute lesson talking about just about keywords,
Okay.
and then we talk about it throughout the rest of the course. So there's quite a bit of talking about keywords.
Okay. Jeff asked the question. I'm going to answer this one real quick. How does Google AdWords compare to Facebook advertising? More costly, more difficult? There's a little bit more buttons to hit over side of Google, Jeff, but the thing is it's going to diversify your traffic. That's the big thing that we're looking for, is traffic diversification. And really, the things that you can do with Google absolutely can scale a lot faster. And quite honestly, Google's giving a lot more customer support tools as well too. So Joel also asked, are there any spy tools included? I think that would be kind of the same kind of keyword tools. Do you have any, recommendations on websites to spy on your competitors so you know what kind of traffic they're running?
Yeah, so we do a video about spy tools, walk you through exactly how you can spy on your competition, and there are several tools that we recommend within there. A lot of really, really cool tools that are available to you.
Okay. Someone said in here, do you send people directly to a squeeze page or straight to a website?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on your strategy. So I think that thinking about let's just talk about this from a fundamental perspective. Somebody's on Google raising their hand, asking their question, right? Just like you're asking a question right now.
Hmm.
Does the question require a long answer, or does the question require an immediate answer? And so for those that have an immediate answer, like I want to get certified with Google AdWords, that's a motivated buyer, right? And so I can bid on that and send them right to the cart and be successful. If somebody says, "What is Google AdWords?" They're probably not looking. They may be looking for a course or may not. I might need to do more work in order to get them down that sales funnel. And so you really need to have your strategy based on what the psychology of the person who's looking to buy. And that really just depends on what you're doing. And I would say for one product, it could be both. If somebody's really a motivated buyer, you just want to capture that buyer, right? You don't necessarily need to send them through a long sequence.
Mm,
If they're not motivated yet, then you need to go through that process. And that's really, that's all about understanding your sales funnel and then your numbers. What do your numbers tell you?
mm, that's great. So just literally just rounding out a couple. I just get a couple more questions in here, and if you don't mind, Jeff, I'd love to answer all these questions. Tell me because I know you're traveling. This is wow. This is great. I mean, there's so many people still on here. So, somebody asks, does Jeff explain landing pages and their importance in a quality score? I think that's part of your checklist, but do you talk about what a landing page has to have on it?
Yeah, definitely. So in a landing page, it is very important for your quality score. And Google is not always transparent about what percentage, but somewhere between 15 and 25% of your quality score comes down to your landing page. And we talk about what you need to do on a landing page in order to make that work. And a lot of it has to do with metadata and relevancy, just being relevant to what somebody typed in.
Okay. Someone else asked, once we have a successful AdWords campaign, how do AdWords consultants charge you to improve the campaign? Do you pay them on a success basis? I think maybe they're asking more about like an agency question. No.
Yeah, yeah. So we have a whole lesson about this in the course as well. And what we talk about is models that people employ. Sometimes it's a percentage of spend. So if you spend X dollars, then they want Y dollars in order to manage it for you. Sometimes it's a flat retainer fee. And I talk about all those options and then tell you what the best option is for you as well.
Mm, okay. That is perfect. Just a couple more. I'm an author and I need to drive business to Amazon and iBooks instead of just a web page. Is that possible with AdWords? Can I use AdWords to drive directly to Amazon or iBooks?
You can, but it's one of those things where you might not. It's really whether you can track it or not. So if you
Yep.
send somebody to a page that you don't control, then you might not be able to get your conversion pixel in place, and so you won't really know whether it's successful or not. And so you'll have that problem where you're like, is this going to work or not? And so that's really where I think that you can do it, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would try to have some kind of tracking in place to know if I'm successful or not.
Okay. Okay. And then do you teach CRO and effective landing page design? Not quite sure what
Not
it is exactly.
we, we we touch on it in the class, but it's not that could be a full course in itself. That's something that I know people that spend several weeks teaching that at a time, and so it's touched on in the course, but it's not its own separate course.
Okay. Denise says we are one of the first 10. Yes, I appreciate it. I'm seeing at this point that the first 10 spots have been filled. Don't quite remember, but if we weren't a part of the first 10, what are we missing out on? Are we missing some of the bonuses? There was just one bonus. It looks like everybody's gotten in, which is great. Maybe run over just a little bit, but Jeff will have to look on his back end of his system to send that out as well too. Hi, can we run ads for Angie's List? Can we run ads like for Angie's List? I don't know what that means. We have a very similar site
Yeah,
to Angie's List.
if it's a local business. Yeah, I think if it's a local business that wants to advertise their Angie's List profile page. Again, I mean, you can advertise for anything as long as Angie's List is not advertising at the same time. The problem is that how do you track it? Since you're going to have, if they call you on the phone, any of those things, you might not know that they're there. And so what I would recommend is Google does have phone call ads. So you can actually tell Google, you can have people that are Googling, you can have them call you. That might be more effective than going to Angie's List. The
Mm,
other thing is maybe take a landing page on your site and have it have the same information as your Angie's List profile, but that way it's on your own domain and you can put your conversion pixels in place.
okay. So Jeff, you asked a question again. So is MLM okay? I heard they had banned us. You can't say learn how to make lots of money in MLM, but you can send people to a website where you can collect opt-ins as well too. It really has to be about blogs and tutorials to get people in it. And I know if you follow Jeff's course, you can't run it directly to your MLM, duplicated site, but running it to a blog where they can opt in for there. Yes, but Jeff, you can correct me if I'm wrong. You cannot advertise for learn how to make millions in MLM, but you can talk about tools that you can use for a home business. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's just understanding what their terms are and being very clear on whether you can say that or not. I think that yeah, if your promise does not match the reality, then Google will not like that. Remember, it's all about having the best quality for the best opportunity for their searchers, and so if you don't fulfill your promises, then they might ban you. Yeah.
Okay. We're a tourism organization marketing our area. Is this a good program for that type of business?
Yeah, I mean, I think that remember how we talked about the three strategies on there? One of the strategies is the one who wants to be awareness, the brand focused strategy. I think that you can do it with AdWords. Now, sometimes it really depends on what your objective is. What do you want to get out of it? Is it just awareness? Is it get people to do things? And then based on your objective, you can train AdWords to get the most of that. Now, just spending on branding though, I'd warn you, can get expensive fast, and if you're not getting tangible results, then it might not be as effective as you want. What I recommend, though, if you're a nonprofit, Google has something called Google Grants, where you can get up to $20,000 a month. $10,000 to $20,000 a month you can spend for free if you're a nonprofit on Google AdWords. And if you are a nonprofit, then I would highly recommend that you look at that program.
Looks like we have two last questions here to round out the hour, which is perfect. Big question about comparison to Facebook. Kim asked, Facebook won't let you target your advertisers' customers. Can you use your competitors' names as keywords?
Yes, you absolutely can, especially in the United States. You can bid on other advertisers' brand names as keywords. Other countries, there's different restrictions. It all comes down to the laws and the location where you're targeting. But you can show up for another person's name. You can bid on their brand keyword.
I appreciate that. That is perfect. And it looks like we just have one last question in here too. I wanted to mention back on Tina. Tina, you said you're in tourism. One of the things is my brother, my younger brother, has had an ad agency and a marketing agency in Nebraska for the last 14 years, and about 80% of his clients are tourism in Nebraska. So he's used Google AdWords for a good long while, and sometimes I give him a hard time because he advertises tourism for like the sand hills out in the middle of the panhandle in Nebraska where there's not a whole lot of stuff, but it's beautiful. He calls it God country. He's marketed overpasses, using Google AdWords. So it's actually really quite interesting. So if you're tourism, absolutely. Now, just one more time, I'm going to go ahead and put the link in here for everybody. If you haven't done it already, we still got a ton of people online, which I appreciate. And I know we're about running out of time. I know, Jeff, you are, even though you're traveling the world, I know you're traveling with your wife, and sometimes your wife's sitting there watching you at a beautiful location working. Is kind of like, hey, when are we going to do this? So want to be sensitive to your time as well too. So if you haven't already taken action, make sure, I'm going to send out the link here one last time. So take action now. Take advantage of the special, of course. All right. So here's what we're going to do is we'll send out the replay. You're going to get that here in about the next hour. You're going to go ahead and get the replay. You'll see everything else. You'll see the replay, the links, the workbooks, the video for Google, all that stuff's going to come out with the replay. If you haven't done it already, jump on inside. We're going to offer all these bonuses, the price and everything else until midnight. It's Sunday. I think this goes through, sometimes gives you, competitors can't use trademark word in the ad. Okay. We'll buy this after work at 7 p.m. Great, Pete. Take advantage. Really appreciate it. Just at work, can't buy now. Not a problem. That link will be live until Sunday at midnight. Jeff Sauer was a great recommendation. Kurt, thank you. Appreciate that, Al. Absolutely. So, Jeff, that rounds out all the questions. The biggest thing that I want to tell people here real quick before I let everybody go, and Jeff, let you go. And, whenever I see a great presentation, I always think, when I invest in myself, what kind of return am I going to get? And you never know unless you try, right? And when I tell people all the time, when I speak on stage, when I do presentations like this, I go, look, The big difference it's made in my life from I remember being in real estate to losing everything that I had, bringing on Nick as a business partner, figuring out how I was going to pay him, or get him to work for free for a couple of months as we built this. And I spent a lot of money on education. But as I look back through all my coaches, my mentors, my education, I always remember of the power of choice. And what happens is there becomes certain points in your life where the road diverges and you get to decide to make a choice or not take action. So for me and for our business, we are looking to scale Google in really big ways because of retargeting, analytics. There's so much traffic and so much insight on Google. Facebook's great. We love Facebook. Obviously, we have courses on Facebook, but the customer support you're getting right now from Google is amazing. So at the end of the day, where it comes down to is literally this, is for the ability for you to choose. And that is to choose, hey, I want to learn something different. I want to take that path. I'm going to invest in myself, and I am really going to make this work. So when you wake up in the morning and you get ready for work or do whatever you do, when you get up and you go to the bathroom, you look at yourself in the mirror, you look at your significant other, you are able to say without a doubt, I have the power to choose, and that's exactly what I did right now. And looking yourself in the mirror or at your significant other and to say, I know that I have the ability to choose, and I chose to do something different. But remember, it also works on the other side as well, too. You can also look in the mirror tomorrow morning. You can look in the mirror when it comes Monday morning when the special's over. You can look at your significant other and say, you know what? I decided not to choose, and nothing changes. There's a big difference. There's really two types of people in this world. The people that are really going out there and making things happen. They're not taking any excuses. They're investing in themselves. They are making things happen. And honestly, there are a lot of other people out there who just don't. So you get the ability to choose right now. You make a difference. I already know what I chose. I'm showing you guys the presentation because this is something we bought, we invested in, we work with. We've already well gotten our money back out of it. But right now is the ability for you to choose as well too. So with that, Jeff, I appreciate you being here. Thank you for all the training. We've gotten lots of comments. Again, tell me, put in the comment box if you're in, say, hey, I'm in, I got this. Man, I just got a bunch of questions going in here too. I'm in. Thanks for the training. Good luck at St. Thomas. I'm also in. I'm in. Man, this is it is great. Thank you everybody for staying here. Jeff, do you have any other closing words that you want to comment on before you are off to the world venture travels again?
No, I just wanted to thank you for having me, Kurt. Really appreciate it. And this has been a great training beyond my expectations. It's such a great group and so engaged. It's really cool to see all of you online still. I mean, it's taken 2 hours of your time and really appreciate it. So I know a lot of you are interested in this topic and AdWords. It's been a career maker for me. Like I was really sort of floating around aimless, didn't really know what to do with myself and my career. This is about 10 years ago, and AdWords really came through. It was the first thing that I knew predictably that I could just deliver for clients. I was trying to find something that people wanted, something that people were interested in, and companies needed AdWords. They needed to show up for search engines. They needed leads. They needed these things. And really, I rode a wave for quite some time. I'm still riding that wave right now that came in through this. And the cool thing is that even 10 years ago, when I first started doing this, I had to learn it myself. I had to do everything. School of hard knocks, go through this entire process of just working through this and really trying to figure it out. I had to figure it out, and I created this course because 5 years into it, I figured somebody else would have done it. I figured that somebody else would have created this course and made it so that everybody would learn AdWords. I figured 8 years later that would happen, and I was trying to hire people who knew AdWords at my agency in St. Paul, Minnesota, and nobody knew how to do AdWords. And so I had all these people who applied for the jobs and who came in and thought that they wanted a job in marketing, but they didn't know the first thing about marketing. And so I took it into my own hands. I went to a local teaching institute, and I was like, let's create a course. And let's create something together to just improve the talent levels of our marketplace in the Twin Cities. And that's really the genesis of me teaching. And I didn't think of myself as a teacher. I still, I like to teach a lot. I'm not an academic by any means. I'm just a person who wanted to have more talent in the marketplace selfishly to help my business and to help learn AdWords. And just to have it so that when I interviewed people, they knew what they were talking about. And I've seen a shift in the last couple of years is that more people know what they're talking about, but it's still, it still is at the point where there's a lot of people who really need this help, and that's why I created this course. I realized that I get exhausted teaching in person and that I can't be everywhere at every place and time. So this year I invested myself in creating this course online. I locked myself in a room, recorded these videos. It took me over a month to record all these videos and to edit them and to put them all together. But now I'm just so happy with the result that I have hundreds of people who have been certified with Google, who have really made that next step in their career and invested in themselves and made that choice. And so I hope that those of you who are interested in this find this to be the course that's good for you. I priced it at a point where it's reasonable. I realize that you have a lot of different choices out there, and I hope that we all make the right choice. And so thanks a lot for sticking around this long, 2 hours. I never imagined that we'd be having something to talk about this long. But if you're still interested in talking with me and learning with me, this is what I do. I share knowledge. I share the techniques that I've learned over the years, and I do it all in these videos. I do it in the forums. I do it everywhere. And so would love to have you on board. Really, really would enjoy that. So
That's perfect.
thanks for having me once again, Kurt.
Absolutely, Jeff. So just one last thing. Someone says, do we get access to Jeff? Yeah, he's going to answer your questions personally in the forum. So you could hire him for $500 an hour or just ask him questions in the forum. So participate in, jump on in if you haven't done it already. Again, www.ppccourse.net. Again, we'll be sending out the replay. All the other materials will be open until Sunday, midnight Central Standard Time on Sunday. Other than that, Jeff, I appreciate you. Good luck and have fun. Be safe on your world travels. And we will talk to you shortly. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.